These black country blokes chewing the fat.
Listen.
I've been hearing a lot lately about men don't talk, but in my experience, men do talk, just people aren't listening. So it's going to be me and a group of blokes discussing our struggles and victories through life. Warning, there may be some bad language, so apologies to all the moms, especially my own. Let's get going.
Listen.
I've been here, just the Black Country Blokes, chewing the fat about everything it is, mental health, disability and life in general. Here with me, Kev Dillon, and my partner in crime, Lee Cadman. Now, we're going to be talking about when life beats you down and maybe have some tools for when it does. Now, for anyone who follows boxing, I had my Osman Mohammed fighting in the national finals and he lost. I thought he'd won, as many people did. But I want us to get out that habit of we were robbed because it was a close fight. I thought we'd done enough. And I said this the other day, when people are there going, every time you're robbed, anyone in the boxing world knows occasionally, and it's only occasionally, when you're robbed, your pants get pulled down. But when we're saying to the kids, to the boxers, to the parents, every time that we lose, that we're robbed, then we're taking the power out of our own hands. Now, I don't think there's much more we could have done on that contest. However, if we're always striving to be better, then we will become better. When we're always blaming, then we're not giving room for growth. But when you try and you aim so hard, you're gutted. And as a coach, as a person, I'm feeling very deflated. You know, I feel sadness, and the sadness becomes fuel for the depression. And I battle depression, but it sometimes it just takes the wind out of your sails. And by being on this journey of self-growth and learning things, I'm now putting in place the things to keep me out the dark room, even though I feel bloody lousy. And I'm reminding myself of the things I'm grateful for. I'm walking, talking, I'm fairly healthy, I've got a family that loves me. And I think that's what we've got to do, is remind ourselves, even when we're down in the dumps, it could always be worse. I've still had a lad who's got to the ABA finals. He's through to the Three Nations, hopefully European. But when you try so hard and you feel like you've done so well, it is upsetting, and you should feel upset when you try and you want something so hard. Yeah. And I feel like sometimes when we're doing this, being open to all you lot now, sometimes you feel like you're putting so much out there, so much positive out there. It's nice when something comes back, but just because you can't see it at the moment doesn't mean it's not coming back in some way. And I think that's sometimes, I think in life as human beings, we need to see not the glory, but we need to see the positive straight away, don't we? We need to see it in front of us.
Yeah, especially when you put the time and hours into doing that. You need to see the return or the perceived return on what you're doing. But it's also, again, how you look at it, because ultimately, whether you won that or not, you've changed that boxer's life. You've helped that boxer grow into the man that he's becoming. You know, and really, yeah, it's great having the titles and that, but isn't that more important, Kev, that you're making a difference in that person's life?
It is, however.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's hard to see at this point, isn't it?
And I think that's it, what I was trying to say. It's like sometimes we need to see it, smell it, touch it. But really, there's so much good that goes on that we're unaware of. Someone said to me when, as a coach, and so I know a lot of you coaches out there listening to this, you will never realise all the lives that you have changed.
Yeah.
And may I just say a massive well done to all our brothers and sisters from around the Midlands who absolutely smashed it. What really touched me is our brothers in Stoke, our brothers in Worley, our brothers from all around. I'm sorry for missing people there, but we were all cheering each other on, and we were in the change rooms having a laugh, and it was remarkable because I remember a time not so long ago when we didn't back each other. We wasn't training. We weren't. It'd be, oh, I hope he loses, but no, we were all there. And it was brilliant. I mean, boxing, amateur boxing is great. It's a boxing family anyway. But I've always been jealous of the Scousers and the Manx and the Geordies and everyone because they stick together. and it's getting there now. And what you have is, like, around us, we have the Black Country, and then we have the Midlands. Then once you win the Midlands, then you win English. Then in the Three Nations, we win England. Then it's Great Britain. But it's great when we all take our little communities and build up bigger communities and bigger communities. And when you've been in the game as long as me, there was Luke from Liverpool, and he was coming over and we're cheering him on because he boxed Osma years ago. And you've known a lot of these boxers since they were babies, and the babies become juniors, become youths, and before you know it, the seniors. They've got friends from all around the country. And it's great because then when they go on international, they've got friends all around the world then. And that's the beauty of amateur boxing. It gives people who never had family a family, and those who were lucky enough to have a blood family, an even bigger family, and a family that who don't look like them. In the boxing world, you have people of different colours, different religions, different sexualities, different ages, but no one gives a kipper stick because you're there together. You're a lion, you're a whatever your boxing club is, and it gives people that love. And
I think it's mutual respect as well, isn't it, Kev? Because ultimately you're going into a ring, and even though there's great coaches and whatever around you, it's one-on-one. There's nowhere to hide, is there? There's nowhere to. So there's that mutual respect that you're both going in there, and the best person should come out of it and win.
Yeah, should. And I'd say sometimes they don't get it. It's not about getting it right, getting it wrong. Sometimes it doesn't go your way, or whatever thing. And as I say, I don't want to get into that game because the officials, they give up their time for free too. And there's some great officials out there, and it's very easy to have a go at the officials, and you shouldn't be. They're there, and it's their what they believe on the night, and they've got an impossible task sometimes. So and respect to all the officials out there, because it's a thankless job, and without the officials, we don't, we couldn't have had the contests. But as I say, this is just how my week's been. But this is why we get the title for today, because life doesn't always go your way. And sometimes you've just got to try and get on with it, and you've got to find what makes your life easier and what cheers you up. And
I think you also have to appreciate that it doesn't go your way sometimes, Kev.
I'm still waiting for it to go. My God, why?
Wouldn't it be boring if it always did?
I don't know. I'd like the option.
Where's the challenge in life if it keeps just running smoothly and the way you want it to? Where's the growth? How do you learn?
I think that because I was working with someone today, and they were saying, sometimes you see people and they've got the wife, the life, the car, the money, and you think he or she has got everything, but maybe that's not what makes them happy. I think so many times we judge everything. Well, he's a world champion, he's a gold medalist, he's a millionaire, their partner's gorgeous, they've got but none of that brings them joy. But
actually, there was a quote the other day, and I can't fully remember the quote, but it was along the lines that you should treat anyone. You can judge a person by the way they treat people beneath them.
Yes.
And to me, that's such a wrong quote. What are you looking at anyone as if they're beneath you?
No, I understand what that quote means. It's like on the stepping ladder.
I understand it. I understand that, Kev. But if you're looking at people, ultimately, because ultimately it comes down to whether you've got a job, isn't it? That's what what your job is, where you are. But they're not beneath you because you do something different. So I understand the quote, but what it should be saying is you shouldn't be looking that anyone is beneath you. We're all here. We're all equal. It doesn't matter what you do for work. It doesn't matter what house you've got.
It's how you treat your employee. I think that's what it means.
But even your employee, it's not. Ultimately, they're still people, and it doesn't make them any better, worse, indifferent to you.
But it's when people climb the ladder and they say they're not going to be the person and I see this once again in the boxing world, people climb up the ladder and the person gets his own business, or that person becomes the head coach, or that person becomes the OIC, and it changes them, and they become the thing they said they were never going to be. And you've got to remember, as you said, people are people, and this what amazes me in the boxing world, or in any world, because you had a good hiding, or you had a bad experience. You make other people have a good hiding or a bad experience. You think, well, you should have learned about this. Or like when you've had a bad time at school and someone really belittled you and made you feel terrible. So then you teach in that same way. You're thinking, You know firsthand how horrible that was. Change it. And you know, and then they go, but I don't know any difference. I don't know any other way to teach. But that's when you've got to find good people and other methods and change the narrative. Just because we've done it for 200 years doesn't mean we've got to do it for the next 200 years.
Yeah. That's it. And I'll say, it just annoys me when I even, why is anyone in this world thinking that anyone is below them anyway?
You were looking like we had a comment then.
We did. I was about to read it, but I was just getting that across because basically this is a better way of putting it, and it's our good friend Steve Ansel. I'll just bring it up if he's going to let me. There we go. So Steve says, I've always tried to live by treat people how you expect to be treated.
Yeah,
and that's the way, isn't it? You know, there's no one beneath you and there's no one above you. You're all equal. We're all in this world, and we're all trying to make the best of it, and that's as simple as it is. So don't look down on people, but equally don't look up to them either.
Well, we were on tour we went to the Monkstown Cup a few years ago, and there's a lady on the bus, drunk, and I was talking to her, having a laugh, and I was smoking at the time, and she said, "Can I have a cigarette?" And every time I seemed to see the same woman, she asked me for a cigarette. And at the end of it, I had loads of euros in my pocket. And I give her all my euros, and that's good. Why are you giving it to that alcoholic? Why are you giving it to her? She's only going to spend that on booze. I went, how dare you judge that woman? I went, you don't know why she's an alcoholic. You don't know if she's been abused, if she's lost a child, if she's just wants a bloody drink. Who have you got? As soon as that money leaves my hand, it goes to Lee. It's his money. If he wants to spend it on smack, if he wants to spend it on Paw Patrol stickers, whatever it is. Who am I to judge? And
maybe just that bit of kindness that you give her made her stop and go, well, actually, I don't need to, there is a bit of kindness in this world. I don't need to spend this on beer, or don't, you know.
I haven't got to sell my body to get the money, to get the beer.
You just might change someone's perspective about what's going on, and there are, you know, make them realise there are good people out there. You don't know.
And it's funny when I've talked about me and my depression, my panic attacks, and some people will go, you have them. Or someone will go like, I'm not confident. I go, confidence isn't just a coat you put on. I wasn't confident. They go, no, it's easy for you. I went, you are seeing the finished article of now. You're seeing me, how you perceive me. But if you see me when I'm having a panic attack, or when I've had my depression, or when I was too nervous to do this and do that, you haven't seen that because I haven't allowed you. And we often see what we want to see in people. And when I say, well, it's easy for you, it's easy for me. I lost my eyesight when I was 3 years old. I've had all these different stuff, but I've had the strength of character to overcome them. But I guarantee you, they haven't been easy.
Yeah, it is about having that strength to overcome them. And I think everyone does have that in them. And everyone goes through different experience that some may perceive as worse than others. But ultimately, you only go through what you do. So you can't judge anyone on that, can you?
And it's who you have around you. If you're lucky enough, because we will have our trials and tribulations through life, but if you're lucky enough to have people to pick you up, that's where strength, because no one is a self-made man. That's a load of bollocks. It's this thing that people like to say, well, I did it all on my own. That man, that woman had a break. Someone give that person a chance. Whether it was, I will give you this loan, I will bankroll you, I will give you a chance, I will give you knowledge, you can shadow me, I will give you advice, but everyone has a hand up to get there, and it's accepting the help. It's accepting the help, and it's, as I say, what I want this to say today is, and I said this the other day when everyone, Lee was training with us in the beatboxing club that we do free every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, mixed classes and ladies classes every Wednesday and Friday. And everyone's blowing out their arse. It was been a really hard session. And I went, you have all been tougher. You have all been through tougher things than this is right now. Every one of you, I don't know what's gone on in your life, but you have all been through and overcome harder things than this last 3 minutes of training will be.
I was about to say, and there's a good chance it lasted longer than 3 minutes. That side of it, and it's right. Yeah, everyone has, haven't they? And sometimes you get into that point where you are trying hard, and it feels like hell. But you have got to remember that actually it's 3 minutes, or it's 30 seconds left, or it's a minute left. At that, you know, it's
a couple of miles.
Yeah, that's it. It's a very small amount of time within your life that you're suffering, and most of the time you're suffering because you've chose to suffer. And I think there's a big difference there as well. Certain things in life that you have to suffer just because of circumstances, and there's certain things in life that you give yourself to suffer. You know, you're testament to that with your eyesight. You didn't choose to do that, but you did choose to box. So can you moan about the suffering then when you box? You can't.
Well, it's that kind of, I suffer for the greater good.
Yeah.
I push through the pain to get the pleasure. And as you say, some people, when they're born into an abusive family, when people are born into suffering of a disability, when these people get cancer, get dementia, they have not chose that. But what they have to do, or what if they have the strength to, is get the tools to make it as good as they can, to leave the abusive relationship, to find something that makes them happy, to find purpose, to find love, to have the strength to fail, but to try again. These are all things that we can choose to do, but we can't always stop the suffering.
It reminds me of Pete Gavakol, who we've spoke about loads just lately, but he obviously was diagnosed with cancer and passed away last year, but he chose, I spoke to him quite a bit while he was at his worst, at that worst point, really, and but he chose to live on that, and he chose to raise money to get some interactive tablets. I was thinking to myself, he was suffering, there's no doubt, I heard that in his voice, but he didn't choose to let that bury him. He chose to carry on through it and come good out of it. And I think, yeah, your circumstances, he couldn't help, but he made the most of what he could do.
And I think that's that old saying, you can't, you don't get to pick the hand that you dealt, but it's how you play them.
Yeah.
I think that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
And just remember, as bad as this is, if I can survive it, I can. Sometimes you just got to survive it. Sometimes you got to, and I think this is what we do in life. When I'm winning, I brush over it. It's on to the next thing. I've won. Yeah. Next thing. I've got a job. I've got a pay rise. Yeah. We skip past the good things because we're waiting for the next bigger thing to come on. Where we should deal with the bad things. Deal with the bad things and enjoy the good things.
Yeah, well, that's where that gratitude comes in, doesn't it, Kev? That we usually start the show with that. We didn't this week, actually. But there we go. That is just remind you of that. It doesn't matter how bad things are. There's some good in the bad.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need to do that gratitude thing that we do every single show now. Yeah. To remind yourself of that.
Well, this is what I've been doing with this. And it's in the grand scheme of life and all the trials and tribulations of my life. Losing an ABA, my box losing an ABA final isn't the greatest thing, but it affects you because you care.
Yeah.
And that's what I have been doing. Because yesterday I didn't get off the settee. I didn't come to the club. And it is licking my wounds, knowing it'll be all right. But even in those times, it's reminding yourself of, while I'm licking my wounds, I'm in a home. My wife will be back. My daughter will be back. And it's reminding yourself, this will pass. We will get better for this.
Yeah.
He will improve as a boxer. I will improve as a coach. I was proud of the conduct that we did. We lost graciously. Wasn't kicking off, effing and jeffing and acting like scumbags, because we are better than that. Even when our hearts are broken, you shake the boxer's hand, you shake the coach's hand, you're polite, and that shows class. Even when you're sad, show class.
Got a comment again off Steve. Just bring this up. So, does anyone choose the path they're on? Sorry, I have to dodge around this. I'm gonna have to take it off the screen because I can't see it fully. Actually, does anyone choose the path they're on? I'm not sure. Only that you can't change the past, but your future is in your own hands. Life is just choices. Sometimes we get it right, sometimes not. Just learn from it and keep moving forward. It is interesting. Do you choose the path you're on? Because you get choices in life, but is that already predetermined?
That's a I know a question that Forrest Gump struggled with. Destiny and fate.
And we are as clever as him. So no chance.
Stupid is as stupid does, Lee.
Yeah.
But it's it depends what path you're on. And I was talking about this with people. And it's, do we believe in karma? Do good things happen to good people and do bad things happen to bad people? And
I mean, I don't believe that for 1 second, to be quite honest.
And, you know, and it's for everything a reason, and there's got to be a greater purpose. And I don't know, I think what it all comes down to is I'm clever enough to realise that I don't know everything. And I think whether you're a religious man or a spiritualist or you believe in the universe or karma, you've got to believe in what makes you have peace. And I think sometimes the writing's on the wall, and sometimes life can be cruel, life can be kind. And I think, you know, it's just one of them.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. I don't know. It's a good question, isn't it? Do you think you have a choice? What path you take?
And sometimes I don't think. You never know. And quite frankly, do I need to know the internet to the universe? Because what's a little thick bloke
There's
from
enough
Wally?
going on.
I struggle to know what to have for tea.
Let's not think too deep.
Do you remember them days before Brexit and before
Like when your mum
coronavirus?
made you tea and you don't have no choice and you just had to eat it.
Well, isn't it funny? Like when you're a baby, you can't wait to be a grown up, and then you get to being a grown up, and you don't get time to see your friends. You don't get to. You seem to just be on the hamster wheel,
Yeah.
don't you? And it's.
It does make you wonder what you're looking at as a kid, as you at your parents going, they've got a great life.
Yeah,
You know, actually, you get to that age, you go, actually, I don't really do anything.
I think as a child, what we all want is the notion of freedom. Because as a child,
Yeah.
your parents tell you when to go to bed. Your parents tell you what to have for tea. They give you your pocket money, and it's sometimes they even tell you what hobby to have. You know what I mean? And I think what we all want, and we fixate on having the job, we fixate on winning the lottery, but I think what we all want is options.
Yeah.
To have.
I think you all want to do what you want to do instead of being, because even once you're an adult, I'll let your kids know, you still get told what to do.
Yeah.
It's just by a boss instead. But you're right. If you've got, I've said this before, it's having if you do win the lottery, I ain't really that fussed about the money. I don't really want a bigger house. You know, it's hard enough we're keeping this one tidy. But I'd like to have the freedom to be able to get up in the morning and do what I want to do. But I don't know what I want to do either. So
but I think that's it. And I think the reason why we want the money to have the option is like, what do we want to do today?
Money gives you time. That's what it gives you.
Gives you time, but then I know millionaires who aren't happy. And I see it, or I know people who've climbed the ladder of success, and then their real friends have left them, and people are money grabbing, and it's so tough, isn't it? Because I think, like, as a child, the idea of it is often different to the reality of it.
Yeah. It is as an adult, let alone a child.
It is, yeah. And as an adult, you think, oh, this is what I wanted, and again you go, what's that? The paradise paradox? Like the people of like the Tyson Furies, I want the world title, and they get there and they go, they set themselves this impossible target, and when they achieve this impossible thing that they could never do in a billion years, they go, now what?
Yeah.
And I think that's what we all struggle with sometimes is, now what?
Especially if it doesn't meet your expectation. Because Tyson Field's a prime example. He won all that, but he didn't have a plan after it either. You know, he didn't think about, okay, well, what to do once I've won it. And then he got a load of bad press for winning it, basically. So he thought, well, this isn't what I dreamt. You know, I dreamt I'd win this and it'd be all rosy and everything would be great. But he didn't have a plan after it, and it didn't go the way he wanted.
So I think even with that success, I think we should all aim. I think the greatest success is being loved by the right people and being loved by yourself, you know, and give yourself a break.
It'd be a success soon to be able to turn the lights on, Kev.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's bonkers in itself, isn't it, man? I mean,
can afford electric this week. We're on a winner.
2020 bloody 2. You know what I mean? And we've got people who've just had some of the worst years financially, mentally, of their time, and we're going to bombard them with bills, and you're thinking, what on earth? So hopefully, if you can afford to charge your phone and your tablet, you can catch us next week.
If we can afford to pay.
we'll have the club run. We'll have all the kids run on the running machines.
Create electric. That's the way to do it, isn't it? Yeah. Keep pedaling. We need more gas.
Well, have you got any quotes or sayings?
No, I didn't like the one I had earlier, obviously.
The one quote you give us in 3 years.
I don't even like it.
A quote. I can't think of one.
Hope we haven't depressed you too much.
Yeah. You know what, guys? Every day above ground is a good day. And quite frankly, give yourselves a break. Life's hard enough. Well, guys, until we see each other next time, keep your chins up. Take care of yourselves and each other. Ta-ra a bit.
Listen.
And that's a wrap for another show. But if there are any comments or messages that you would like us to read out for our next podcast, please be in touch. There are also lots of different organisations at the bottom of this page, and hopefully they can help you or someone you care about. Please share this to spread the word. Until we talk next time, ta-ra a bit.
Listen.